Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and welcome to another episode from me, Avomance, on life on Minecraft. Now, until recently, life was pretty much exclusive to land in Minecraft, but then the update aquatic hit us, and things changed massively. Life now can flourish not just on the land, but also under the waves, and there are massive ocean biomes that we can now explore, and they too have all of their own life, plant and animal. We are going to explore this amazing underwater kingdom in a two-part Life on Minecraft episode, Under the Sea. The update Aquatic, which was announced at Minecon in 2018, is quite unusual because it was released in two parts in Bedrock before it came out on Java. First part in May and the second part in July, 1 week before the Java update in July also of 2018. It transformed the bleak underwater scene into something that is just teeming and full of life, as you can see here. Only squid used to populate these waters, and now there are plants and animals all over the place, and we are going to investigate just a few of them. Our first undersea edition is the Dolphin. Now, these will be the subject of a Life on Minecraft all their own, but I didn't want to leave them out because they are such an important addition to this area. We have got pods of between 2 and 4 when dolphins spawn in, and they are a neutral mob. They are not a friendly mob. If you bash one, they will go back at you and they can attack you quite aggressively. Not only that, their friends will attack you as well. Their pod culture means that, very much like zombie pigmen, if you have a go at one of them, all of them come back at you. However, you can feed them and you can play with them. They enjoy just playing around with that block and they'll keep going. That doesn't increase their friendliness to you, but it is quite cute. In order to increase their friendliness, you need to feed them. The dolphin's favourite food is raw cod, and if you come at them close with raw cod, they will allow you to feed them. Although if there is a block in the area, they can get rather distracted, so maybe clear that block out of the way first. Right click on the dolphin, they'll get that particle effect, and they will start to lead you somewhere interesting. If you follow them, they'll take you to an area of treasure, and if you keep feeding them, their trust with you will grow. And you can see this chap has brought us to a shipwreck where inside, no doubt, there is a treasure chest that will really make our day an awful lot better. We've come to a lukewarm ocean in order to be able to find some of our very colourful friends. These are tropical fish, and there are many varieties. They come in all different shapes, sizes and colours, and spawn often in lukewarm oceans and deep warm oceans. They spawn in groups of 8, and you can see here you've got a right mixture of colours. In fact, you can have up to 3,584 variations of tropical fish as a result of the changes between their colours, their shapes and the patterns that land on top of their colours. There are 22 basic types of tropical fish that make up 90% of the spawns that come in the ocean, and then 10% are just completely random, and they're drawn from the 2 different shapes, the 15 different colours and the 6 patterns with the 6 different colours of patterns that you can get with all these tropical fish, and each one has its own name. Now, tropical fish cannot live outside of the water, which is no great surprise really, but if you want to transport them from these oceans for an aquarium of your own, if you have a bucket of water and you right click on the fish, you will collect that fish into your bucket, and what's great is that bucket will remember the type of fish that you have collected, and it will give you that exact fish back when you pop it into some water back at your base. So we're in our little makeshift pond just by the sea, and we're going to pop 2 of our fish into this pond, and they will survive very happily in there. They could even be in a single water source block, but don't put more than 24 in because they will die of entity cramming the same way as any other fish will. However, if you try and put it in a cauldron, it doesn't like it very much. If you are very lucky in these warmer oceans, you will find these beautiful arrays of coral reefs that are brand new to the update aquatic. They can give you a massive range of colour and texture for your builds. However, you need to be very cautious. You can collect these up very easily using a silk touch weapon. So in survival mode with a potion of water breathing and night vision so we can see what we're doing, I have a silk touch pick in my hand. I'm cutting off this coral and it floats off very nicely and becomes a usable coral block. The same is true for the coral fans as well. These are a really nice addition to the game and you can use them to decorate your base. Remember to put them in water. Placing them outside of water will only result in you getting a dead coral, and nobody wants a dead coral unless they're using it to build a house, because they have some really nice grayed out textures. Another way to get a dead coral is to mine it out with a non-silk touch implement. There you go, one dead coral. Great textures, however, it's not a lot of use if you want live coral. Also on these gorgeous coral reefs, you'll see these green candle-like structures. These are sea pickles, and they are a block that will emit light for you underwater. One sea pickle on a block will emit 6 light, 2 will emit 9, 3 12, and 4 15. And the great thing about these is you can place them out of water. They just don't emit light themselves. You can harvest them very easily just by hitting them. You do not need silk touch. And you can replace them again on another block under the water, and that will give you some light. You can also farm these by using some bone meal. We have placed a single sea pickle atop a coral block, and we've surrounded it with other coral blocks. Now you don't need to do that, you could just do it in the natural coral formation, but just for ease I've shown you how to do that. I've got some bone meal in my hand and I'm going to right click on the bone meal. Just one click of that bone meal, literally just one click, and we have just gained 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 additional sea pickles for a single bone meal. That's insane. Click it again, you can get some more. Click it again and you can get some more. So you can see you can actually gain lots and lots of pickles in a very small amount of bone meal. Another use of the sea pickle, apart from being able to light underwater areas really easily with different lighting effects, is to create some nice green coloured dyes. If you put a furnace down and place the sea pickle in that furnace, that is going to give you that really very strong green colour that they've now called lime green dye. And you can use that for anything you want. Apart from dye, sea pickles are actually very useful with composters for making bone meal. You have a 65% chance, so that is a 2 in 3 chance that when you use a sea pickle on a composter, you're going to successfully increase the level of compost in the composter. So bang, first go, first time, 2, second go, second time, third go, third time, didn't do it that time, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So 9 sea pickles gave us 1 bone meal. Now if you work that out, 1 bone meal on those sea pickles over in the coral reef gave us 12 additional sea pickles. So that is 3 sea pickles to create that bone meal. So theoretically you could actually create more bone meal than you need to use on a sea pickle farm. If you can't find a coral reef, you can actually get sea pickles from a wandering trader, but they're quite expensive. We have ventured underneath the waves again because we're going to look at this really rather nice decorative block. It comes in 2 heights, Seagrass 2 and Seagrass 1. And it might not look like it has much of a use, but in fact it really does. To be able to harvest it, you need to use shears. If you try and harvest it in any other way, you'll just destroy the block. But if you use shears on a single seagrass block, you'll get 1 seagrass and off it goes. If you use it on a double seagrass block, you'll get 2 seagrass and off that goes as well. Seagrass can be got in a number of different ways. First off, it generates naturally in large numbers across the ocean floor. It needs to be in at least 2 deep block, which will then allow the 2 high seagrass to grow. But you can also use bone meal on a non-transparent block under the water, again, as long as there are 2 water blocks underneath it. And that will give you lots of seagrass. In fact, it's an excellent way of getting lots of seagrass. You can also get seagrass from turtles when they die. They drop between 0 and 2 bits of seagrass, but more importantly, you're -1 turtle, and that just doesn't seem very nice. Seagrass has a couple of uses. You can actually use it to breed turtles up. So if you want to increase your turtle population, seagrass is definitely the way to go. You can also accelerate the growth of a baby turtle using seagrass. It reduces the amount of time the baby turtle has got left to grow by 10%. In addition, 30% chance of getting bone meal out of a composter when you use seagrass. Not as good as a sea pickle at 65%, but still, if you've got loads of it, it's a great way of getting bone meal. Squid are the oldest Minecraft aquatic creature in the game. They were out far before the update aquatic, and they just mosey around the water, neither attracted or scared off by the player. They spawn in groups of up to 4 between Y46 and Y64, and as a result they won't spawn in classic flat or super flat worlds because the sea levels are very different. They'll come into ocean, beach and river biomes, although in bedrock they won't actually spawn in beach biomes either, which has meant that some of the old ink farms that people used to make with squids no longer work because they were made outside of those biomes. Now squid, unlike many other passive mobs, will despawn over time, so if you're trying to keep a squid as a pet, make sure you name tag it, otherwise that fella could be gone when you've gone away for a little while. Squid are one of only 2 sources in the world for black dye, and the other one being wither roses, and you don't want to do that unless you are very ready. They're a lot harder to get. If you hit a squid in the head, it will let out that black ink, and often, because it's not very hard, will give you between 1 and 3 sacks of ink. Let's try it again. It won't happen if you attack its tentacles. It will only take damage in the head. There you go, it's released another ink sac. What's really quite interesting about squid is that they do not get pushed around by a water current. So if you were to place a source block and then let the water float away from it, a squid could very happily and very easily walk up that water source, and it's not remotely pushed away from the water source block by the water moving away from it. Squid are the natural enemy of the Guardian. Now the Guardian will be the subject of a Life on Minecraft all of its own because that is a very complex creature. But if a squid comes in near a Guardian, the Guardian will treat it just like a player. Now the Guardian attack isn't actually that strong. The squid takes some battering before the Guardians actually cause it to die. But eventually the poor squid is toast. And seeing as we are by this ocean monument, we can talk about sponges. Ocean monuments are the source of sponges. Specifically, this really ugly dude here is the source of sponges. Killing an Elder Guardian will enable you to get a sponge or so. And it doesn't like being hit, especially when you're in creative. So I'm just going to take this guy out and we can start playing with the sponge. And there you go. It's dropped a number of things, of which one is a sponge, this guy here, and it's a wet sponge. Now your wet sponge is a really useful tool if you are doing any kind of building underwater. However, you do need to dry this fella out first, and you put that in a furnace, and that will consume a standard amount of fuel, and that will ultimately turn from a wet sponge into a sponge, which is a normal sponge. And this sponge is incredibly absorbent. You can use this to create all kinds of dryness where things should be wet. Now I've got a 5x5 2 deep pool of completely water source blocks. It's all water source blocks. I'm going to place this sponge in right in the middle. Instantly removes that water, but it is now a wet sponge, so you need to put it back in the furnace. The sea is biome and kingdom unto itself, and there are loads of riches under there. Treasure chests, animals, plants, monsters, you name it. But most of those are the subjects for another Life on Minecraft. If you have enjoyed this video, please do remember to slap that like button. It'd be great to know you're enjoying it, and I will keep on making them. And also, if you've not done it already, please do hit that subscribe button. It'd be great to see you in my sub club, and I look forward to seeing you in another video. You take it easy now. Bye.